Hey, what's going on? Strat Soldier here for the weekend shift. I got somebody here. Uh, I'm excited for him to be here. Mike Options. If you don't see me talking to this guy every morning or see me retweeting his stuff, you're not paying attention to me because I've been talking to this guy since I'd say 2019, maybe 2020, but definitely he knows what he's doing. He's been trading for a long time, and I know, and Mike, before we get into it, I trade the Strat, and I that is 100% straight Strat, and so the people that know me, I used to call myself the indicator hater. But I tell you what, I was like, anything, any little stupid squiggly line, blah blah blah. But anyway, after trading for 5 years now, I definitely learned, you got to have some tools in your toolbox. You know what I mean? I use the Strat. I try to keep it simple, but even now, I started using things like money flow index just to show, hey, because it shows price and time at the same time, or price and volume. I'm sorry, at the same time. And it's just something else that just reconfirms what's happening in the price, and that's why I like. I've been trying to expand, is what I'm trying to say. So you being here is a big deal for me. And every morning you post the news, you post what's up and what's down, and it's been a big help. So thank you for being
Thank you.
here.
Thanks for having me, man. It's great to be on here. It's been a fun 6 years. 6 years. Damn.
6 years, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the Strat Soldier, not the Math Soldier. Okay.
Hey, man, I just want one of those mugs, man, for coming on here. I said I'm gonna be looking out there for my Christmas present one of these days. May not be this year, maybe next year, but I'm gonna expect one.
Oh, I got him. I got him. I got him. That's funny because well, I don't want to plug my stuff already, but yeah, I definitely got those Strat mugs. You can definitely find them. Yep, yep. I can send. I'll send them to you. I'll send one to you. How about that? Just for
That
being on.
sounds good. I'm just
I
having fun with you.
appreciate
I just like that's a cool mug. I like that.
it. Um, so we were talking before, just a little bit. So I started in 2019. 2019, I started trading with Rob Smith. Learning the Strat, learning it from him, and learning a lot of the lingo. And that's where I came upon Twitter. I already had a Twitter account, but it really was just for like other stuff. And then I got into the whole, like, I guess they call it FinTwit or whatever
Yep.
world, and there's a lot of good people, and there's a lot of people that, like, you don't hear them anymore. Like, they're gone. Like, I remember there's people I used to follow, like,
Oh
legit,
yeah.
and they are gone.
There's
So
also a lot of really bad people out there to listen to too.
yes,
You
yeah,
really
silly
have to
stuff.
be, you have
Yeah.
to really focus yourself out there. I mean, I get a lot of people say, why don't you follow me on X, Twitter these days? I keep
Hmm.
my follow list tight because I try to keep it to people who I want to hear from, and I don't
Hmm.
want to have 1,000, 1,500 people because I can't read it all. Just I miss every little thing,
Yep.
and so. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot out there and there's a lot of people gone and so much bad information out there too. So
Yeah, no, that's a good point too, because I don't follow everybody either, um, because you get those people that just want to. What I've noticed is, especially back then, but I notice it a lot more now, because it's a pattern. But during the day, everybody's trading. As soon as the market closes, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, everybody turns into a politician. Like everybody wants to post politics. You're like, wait a minute, I
you,
don't
you,
care. Yeah,
you know
good.
what? Politics have no place in what we do. And
No.
it
Mhm.
doesn't matter whether you're left, you're right, you're somewhere in between. It doesn't help us trade. Now, what we do have to do is pay attention to politics, how it can affect our trading. And that is important in what we do. Like,
Mhm.
so I tell my members this day, I'm like, I don't want to get political because I have members that are way left, members that are way right, and they
Mhm.
clash. And my job sometimes is to be the moderator, right? You're sitting in a room with 100 people and you're trying to keep the peace. But I'm like, so you have this situation now where you have these Epstein linked by the Democrats today, and
Yeah.
you have the Arizona Democrat who's been going into the House, and she signed on. They're going to force a vote to bring stuff out. And I said, forget this has an effect not just on the current president, which could, but
Yeah.
also a lot of very powerful people. And I brought up like Damie Dimon, who's been implicated in the past and stuff like this. So,
Hmm.
I mean, this is something you need to pay attention to because it could have an effect on a lot of very powerful people if this ever comes out. Now, I'm the belief it's never actually going to fully come out. So let me just
Right.
be clear about that.
Yeah.
But if it
Mhm.
did and it implicated people, there could be some repercussions in Wall Street. What happens if like Jamie Dimon was forced to resign from JP Morgan? You would
Yeah.
have a disaster on your hands on that stock at that moment if you're in it. So you need to pay attention to this, not And this is not being political. This is like you need to pay attention to this because this could have teeth.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And
It could affect a whole bunch. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
everything. Um, even the whole like you said, I say the same on the weekend shift. I say every show, well, not every show, but most shows. I've been saying it a lot more this year. We don't talk politics, but we have to talk about tariffs.
yep.
Like they're putting tariffs on Adobe for any PDF will have a tariff on it. Like you're, oh, well, that's a joke, but they're putting tariffs on the tariffs. That's what I usually say. But you have to talk about it. You know what I mean? Because that's what's happening.
Right.
And then people were talking about Nancy Pelosi might retire, and then
Well, she did.
and then
She announced it. Yep.
yep, and then people talk about her trades in Nvidia, that whole thing, and how that's yeah. So we get wrapped up in it, and like
Y-
for example, 2022 when XLE and then for the Stratters, it went hammer and force on the year because we look at those charts. And all year 2022, it was about energies, XLE, all energies. They were buying them all, and but it was also like a reality. I had to like tell people like we're having fun talking about this, but the reality check is the pump your what you're paying at the pump is going to be really extremely high.
Yep.
It's fun to laugh at Kroger because I like to make jokes. So it was fun to look at Kroger and go, man, it looks like the grocery store needs to go to the grocery store. But the reality check is, you know, uh, during COVID, there was no toilet paper, there was no bread, there was no like because
Oh,
people just
it was
yeah,
just horrible. I mean,
it's crazy.
it was just really strange and weird. I mean, sitting in line for 45 minutes to get into the supermarket, right? Just because they were spacing everybody. It was just, it was just
Yeah,
wild stuff. It was just weird.
so weird. So back then, well, let's say back then, but I remember in 2019, let's say to 2023, I never heard of CPI. Never heard of
Well,
CPI,
yeah.
never heard of PPI. Not that they didn't
Well,
exist, but
we
we
all
didn't
knew
think.
about them, but nobody
Hmm.
cared about inflation. This was an invisible thing at that point because there was no inflation. There was
Yep.
de-inflation, if anything, at that point going on,
Yep.
right? So you fast forward, and the market's weird. Market will not care about anything until it does, and when it does, it's like the media, right? When it latches onto something, a story, right? If you watch a story in the media headlines, doesn't matter what it was. The fires last year out in LA, right? Those
Yeah.
fires, and I had some members who were caught up in it, and one of them that came a block from burning his place down, right?
Wow. Sheesh.
So yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, he got really close, but I mean, for a week and a half, that was all the media would talk about, and then all of a sudden you don't
Yeah.
hear about it. Nobody cares. And,
True.
and and the market's like that with numbers like inflation. It cares until all of a sudden it's like, yeah, this is no longer important. It's gone. Or jobs number are important, but now they're not. They're gone. It's just tough because you have to realize it becomes a hype machine to a certain extent, the markets. And you
Yeah.
see that it's not just with the markets with stocks, but it's also, yeah, to your point, nobody cared about inflation back then.
Hmm.
It was the jobs number. The jobs
Yeah.
numbers, what were driving everything was the reemployment numbers, right?
Hmm.
And now suddenly, fast forward, here we are coming to the end of 2026, and now jobs numbers are becoming important again because the market wants rate cuts. The market really doesn't want weak unemployment. The market wants it just to be weak enough to force the Fed's hands to cut the rates more. But if we
Yeah.
saw a real drop off in unemployment, if we saw a non-farm payroll that was negative,
Hmm.
this market would freak out because there's
Yeah.
not enough. It doesn't matter if the Fed goes to 0% interest rates, right? It's like,
Hmm.
oh crap, we have a problem. So, everything is kind of it's not in balance. The market wants this Goldilocks thing, and currently it seems to be getting it because nothing matters.
Yeah, and that brings up to my next point. I'm glad you said that because it seems like especially this year, the market does not care about the news at all. Like after April, after May, what was it? No, after February,
April.
March, and then we start coming back up in April. It's like there's, it doesn't matter what they say on the news. Like I said, tariffs on the tariffs. I was trying to be funny, but even like talks of like possible war, possible this and that. I remember 2023, a little bit of 2024, when Israel and Hamas started, the market was down big time.
Yep.
And it's like the market doesn't care; it just keeps going up, and that's where the whole buy the dip people are back. That's what I'll
It's
say.
not buy the dip. You got to put the F in there. You got to get it right. BTFD. If you don't say the BTFD, it doesn't work. Come on, you all know that video that's been out there forever.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well,
That was from
on
COVID.
the that's true. It's true. Yeah, on the weekend shift, I try not to say no to them wordy dirts because they got me on the big screens and they got the little kids running
Yeah, I
around. So
didn't
I
say
always
it.
no, you're good.
I just kind of.
Alluded to it. Yeah. No, I like Mike. You're so awesome. I'm glad you're here because I mean, just tweeting back and forth and just talking about. We've seen so much. You know what I mean? We've seen so much. We went through the whole AMC thing. We went through
I mean,
GameStop.
when
Like
you're
I
seeing
remember.
that again, right?
Yeah.
Everything
Hmm.
repeats because you're seeing that with OKLO and SNE and some of these names that are they're pre-revenue, right?
Hmm.
These are names that are pre-revenue. OKLO reported last night their revenue was zero.
Wow.
$0, right? They have no revenue. They're not expected to have anything to 2028.
What? Wow.
Well, I mean, you know how long it takes to, first of all, they've never built a nuclear reactor. They have designs. Mhm. So, I mean, so you look at these companies right now, these nuclear things, and I understand what they're doing. And then to me, the big question comes with all these, okay, so we're going to build mobile nuclear reactors and place them in the United States. Who's going to protect them?
Right.
Like, if you were to try to get into a nuclear reactor, like, any of them in the country, like 3 Mile Island is closed, but you still can't get anywhere near it. It's secure. Who's going to provide security for these? Because is the United States government and military now going to come out and protect these places, these mobile nuclear reactors, which can be moved around?
Yeah.
I mean, that to me becomes one of these questions. But you're looking at companies, but back to the point is you're seeing this kind of repeat with it, like, OKLO and S. And now there's a promise there of what they could be and the need that we need for energy. I mean, if
Hmm.
you look at, I mean, I don't know about you, but I saw my electric bill and I was like, I wanted to tear it in half the other day because it was like,
Yeah.
why is this twice as much as last year the same time and I use the same amount of electricity? Because these data centers are sucking up all the energy and
Hmm.
the utilities are charging everybody. I sometimes think if the government wanted to fix things, they would say you cannot charge people more, but you can charge the companies using the data centers 5 times, six. You can charge them whatever you want and let that come from the companies. And so I'm
Yeah.
surprised that nobody in the government's kind of figured that out yet, that maybe that's what they should do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
we need more energy.
I'm sure somebody proposed it and they were like, "Sit down, Larry.
Yeah.
Stop raising your hand, Larry."
Yeah. But we need more energy, right? And we're going to need that if we're going to do this. And so
Mhm.
the promise of nuclear, it's cleaner, it's more efficient, everything. But they've never built them. They've never done it. Now we know these
Wow.
designs kind of work because they're based upon the same nuclear reactors you see in the carriers and submarines and stuff that are
Oh, okay,
we
okay.
have, right? So we know they work, but we've never
Right.
seen them deployed in like this.
In real time. And that brings up a good point because I didn't know that. And but that also brought up what I saw something on Bloomberg News this morning about how OpenAI and a lot of other AI companies, but OpenAI has not shown any kind of revenue. They're not showing how much they're actually, are they really making any money?
Well,
And then
they're
they've
they're a
matched
private
that up with
company.
clip. What's that?
They're a private company, right? So they don't
Mm-hmm.
have to show anything yet. When they
Oh,
want to
that's
go on their
true.
dog and pony show to go
Mm-hmm.
public, they will.
Mm-hmm.
But they're claiming they're doing about $1 billion a month in revenue.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh-huh.
maybe they are, maybe
Maybe.
they aren't.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nothing compared to what they're spending,
Mm-hmm.
right? If
Okay.
they're doing that, I mean, look at these contracts they're handing out, right? 300 billion here, 250 billion here, right?
Yeah.
And so I do think, well, I said this to my members, I think Sam Altman is headed for a big fall.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
the same way Mark Zuckerberg did when he first, he had Facebook come out and, he was
He's
great. And then,
he switched it to
he came
Meta.
down and,
Yeah. Yeah.
what's his name? Vlad in, Hood, also the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
overplayed, but they both learned, right? They learned and they
Yeah.
figured it out and they got better and they became good CEOs and they figured things out. Altman's going to have that same fall, and I think you're starting to see that. I think
Mm-hmm.
they've extended themselves too far. I think you're hearing from CoreWeave, they've done the same thing. They've extended themselves too far. I wouldn't be surprised if Perplexity's in the same boat. And they're signing these contracts so they suddenly realize they don't have the money
Mm.
and to pay out. And they're going back to try to raise more money, and they're hearing at what valuation?
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
100%. Yeah. Hmm.
And then they come out and say, well, the government, we want the government to step in and help us out. And the government, like, what?
Yeah. Who you help for? Thought you making billions. Yeah.
So I think the big companies like Google and Microsoft and Amazon, well, and Apple, whatever they're going to do, which sounds like they're going to
Yeah.
pay Google for now, will be fine. But I think these companies that aren't private are still private. There could be some major fallout there.
Mm.
You
Okay.
may see
Yeah.
them try to become public and face heavy scrutiny.
Yeah, no, I believe it. I believe it. Again, Bloomberg News, I watch it every morning. So I usually get up and I got Bloomberg News on, and then you're the first one tweeting in the morning. You and Wolf.
Wolf.
Yeah, yeah. You guys are always like, here's the news. This is what's going on. And I usually scroll down what you guys, because it's quick, it's simple, it's easy. Okay, AMD's up, UNH, what's going on. I'm just kind of,
Yeah.
you know, summarizing. And they're talking a lot about, okay, AI was the big thing, like AI is going to be amazing, and that's what everybody's saying. They got AI. You got people that make coffee cups that say, yeah, we got AI for our coffee cups. Like everybody's saying AI, but when are they going to show how they're making money with it? I think that's the biggest thing. Yeah, yeah, because
Well,
taking a picture of my pet and then making it a video. Not saying that I saw you doing that. Oh, I'm not
yep.
saying you. I'm just
No, no,
saying
no, I did. But I did with Duke. It was just to have
it
fun with
was
that
cool.
with Grok.
It
And
was
Grok,
cool.
I mean, give
Yeah.
Musk credit. I mean, Grok, it does some
Hmm.
cool things. Now, now
Hmm.
the his paw going through my arm was not exactly,
Yeah.
a great thing.
Yeah. So,
Um,
but how do you
but
use that? How do you make money with that? I mean, people are even calling out saying, "Hey, you guys are using AI for commercials." There was a big news story today about AI music. Like people are fighting it as much as they're,
right, I think I saw the country song, the number one country song in the country right now is
yeah,
a nice song.
yeah.
So I think here's what's kind of going on is like you have this whole boom and then bust and then finally figured out.
Hmm.
Google's figured out. Google's actually generating money off of AI, right? So is
Hmm.
Microsoft. Both of
Okay.
those are. Companies like Snowflake and IBM who are integrating this stuff and even CRM are making money off of AI. Now, I don't know if they're all making as much as they're investing into it. That's a different story. But these are
Hmm.
also big companies with huge pockets that can absorb that.
Yeah.
The one that is falling down is Meta right now.
Mm.
And I
Hmm.
think that's what people are missing. And then when you listen to that last report, what's going on with Meta is they've overspent on AI and hiring these people, and they're getting zero return. I mean, you're getting, no money on it. And their last Llama model it was not considered to be good, and a lot of people didn't like it, and they weren't using it. And now you heard their head of this morning, the news was their lead AI developer, whatever was going to start his own company, leaving them,
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, now Meta will be fine. And let me be, clear, with everything they do with Facebook and Instagram and to what's happened, their monetization, they're still going to be fine with all the advertising. But they're spending hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars on AI,
Yeah.
if not more, and they're not getting any kind of, there's zero return on investment so far.
Yeah.
So, it has to come to fruition at some point. I agree. And this whole thing, could it be a little bubble? Listen, I've been saying for a while we've entered a stock market bubble, and a lot of people don't
Hmm.
like that term. But when I say it, it doesn't mean we're about to fall off the cliff. Bubbles
Hmm.
can last for a while. I started trading in 2008, just after the financial crisis, like a
Wow.
month or two after it.
Hmm.
And I've seen a little bit some bubble activity as that. I was paying attention back in the 90s when we had the dot-com bubble. I was working in tech at that point. I understood what was going on.
Yeah.
This kind of has that same feel, except the difference is there's a lot of the companies that in the dot-com bust that were becoming public they were kind of like the Oklos. They didn't have
Hmm.
any real revenue. They were losing money hand over fist, right? We have companies at this time that are really doing well, like Nvidia and AMD and Microsoft and Amazon and
Yeah.
Google, right? These
Hmm.
are real companies, Oracle, with real,
Hmm.
deep pockets. So there's a little bit of a difference there, but doesn't mean it's not a bubble. We've entered into one. But when people say that term, it has this really negative connotation.
Yeah. Like it's going to zero. Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
But what people don't realize is this can go on for years. Right. And, people
Hmm.
are like, oh, we're in a bubble. I need to get out of the market. I'm like, no, you need to ride this as long as you can until you feel like it's too dangerous.
I love this. I love what I want to keep that point going because the way we follow trend, and I'm trying to show, I always try to show the basics. I always show the basics of trading before I start talking about the strat and all this other stuff too. Um, but I always say the basics of trading, the basics of trading. Okay, you got to know what the close of the price is. You got to price of the day, the close. Okay, and then in the strat, you got to know what the open is. You got to know what the bid and ask is. Like there's basics. You can't just get on YouTube and be like, okay, well I'm gonna watch like 6 videos and I'm gonna make like 6K a week because there's people out there posting that they're doing that. I don't
Yep.
believe them, but whatever. My point is, there's a lot to it, and knowing identifying the trend is one of those things. And if I can show my screen real quick, and because I definitely want to see how you follow the trend. Yep, yep. Let me see here. I'm not going to be able to show my screen. I wanted to show my screen
I
of
see it, Shree.
well, yeah. I wanted to show this. Let me see here. Let me see here. Stop share. I want to show this before I forget. Where's my other thing at? This
Oh, I know what
guy.
you're gonna
This
show,
thing.
man.
Yeah, this thing. All right, real quick story before we get too far into the stock, because I know.
Pimping.
Yeah, pimping. That's right. That's right. Because pimping ain't easy. That's right. Making pimp decisions every morning. We're out here making pimp decisions, and so much fun. We've been having so much fun for so long, and it's become like it's become an inside joke.
So
Um,
you know the story behind that, right?
no, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. So I was a first of all, the movie was hysterical, and then I was a big fan of South Park and the whole episode where Butter was a pimp.
Yeah,
And my friend Katie, who used to trade with me, we used to trade together all the time. She used to call me her pimp because I she's like used to always follow my decisions, and I used to call her, and she used to call me her bottom bitch because of South Park, her BB. So her name for me was BB,
yeah,
and so I made that my picture on Twitter back in the day. And then it's going on for a bunch of years, and everybody's like, you don't want to be known on Twitter. You're just trying to hide who you are. I'm like, oh, fine. Here's my picture. I don't really care. Here you go.
yeah.
I mean, seriously, I'm a real person. I'm not anybody else. I mean, so I changed it, and you're like, wait a minute. You don't
Yeah,
look
yeah.
like that?
Yeah, from my perspective, okay, so from my perspective, I gotta tell it. So in 2019, I started trading and I'm following Rob Smith and I'm learning the strat and I'm getting in the FinTwit and I'm learning the community and I'm learning how it goes. And I start following this guy with a Cat Williams profile picture. His name's Mike Options, and this guy is cool. Every morning he's tweeting out all these things, and then I'm pretty sure I start using the pimp gifts, and so did you. Like every morning, what's up, pimp? What you got going on? And there's all these crazy. There's so many pimp gifts out there, and pretty sure we use them all. And then one day I'm like,
We
yeah.
can
I'm
make
like, so
more
the
now with
whole
AI.
time. I gotta tell it, it's for the story, but the whole time I'm like, I'm following this cool black dude. His name is Mike Options. He's cool, and we're out here in the market representing. We're having a good time. And then around COVID, you changed your picture. Like you said, you changed your picture, and I was like, well, who's this guy? Like I didn't even recognize you. I was like, I don't remember following this guy. Who's this guy? Because I only look at pictures. And I was like, that's Mike Options. I was like, well, maybe he changed his picture to this person because it's like cool. Maybe that's like his mentor or something. Maybe that's somebody he likes or something like that. But then I started like looking at your profile picture more, like looking at your background. I was like, this guy's on TV and stuff. That's cool. But who is this other guy? Anyway, me and you got. It was it. I'm pretty sure we tweeted it publicly. We're like back and forth, back and forth. You're like, no, that's me.
I was I was I was so a little bit about me. My grandfather jumped ship in Canada from Italy and made his
Hmm.
way down to the U.S. and New York City, where he ran to my mom, who was also an immigrant here who came through Ellis Island.
Hmm.
And my grandfather was very racist. I don't say that with any kind of pride. Just
Right.
it was different. It was a long time ago, and my dad made the decision that he was never going to pass that on to his kids.
Hmm.
And for me, I've always just made sure that I kept that my daughter. I mean, racism doesn't belong anywhere in this world. And
Right.
so for me, I try not to look at things that way as best as I can. But, it was my dad made that decision. He's growing up because, my grandfather was who he was, and it was not a good thing. Not, but it was, this is going back in the 1920s and 30s, different time in the world, but
Yeah.
doesn't make it right. But,
Right.
and he jumped ship from Italy, and he made his way in this country. Him and my grandmother did great, and my dad, to his credit, he said, he grew up with that, and he said he wasn't going to pass it on to his kids. And
That's
boy, God,
awesome.
there's a lesson in that to be learned by the whole world. I really do
Yeah,
believe that.
especially right now.
At the end of the
Mhm.
day, don't pass any of that on to your children. If you want to really want to do something right, and this is not, maybe this is, we're off topic here, but don't pass anything like that on to your kids because, that's how it changes.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That's very awesome. I'm glad you said that. Yeah, because I just came out and was like, yeah, I thought you was this and that. That's funny. No, but
Yo,
now not
man,
to make.
I'm here, man. Solidarity, brother.
Oh, that's so funny. I appreciate you saying that. And that's so awesome. Great story. And it's funny how like you're like, this is what I was doing. I thought it was funny. And like this, your timeline and then like yeah, because people see you different, you don't know how people see you. And I'm like, yeah, that guy, you're still cool. I just want you to know you're still
Thank you.
cool. It was just very enlightening. I was like, what the heck? So what I'm showing real quick is because I wanna go into your charts, but I was talking about identifying trend, and we're gonna go into some other charts here in just a second. Here's my money flow index I was talking about, but so when in the strat, we always look at 4 time frames. I'm looking at the month, I'm looking at the week, the
Okay.
daily, and the 60. Okay, and these are our 4 major time frames, and this is what we use to just identify trend. And I'm trying not to use so much jargon with you because I want you to,
You can
I
use as much
think,
jargon as you want, man. I
uh,
probably don't understand most of it.
yeah, yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Like, if we're talking, let's say jargon and all that stuff I get. But if I'm talking about my method and you're talking about yours, if our methods are right, we're gonna find a way where it makes sense together.
Right.
Because I'm not talking about some weird voodoo like fair value gaps and like
Nope.
weird, I'm not talking about weird things. All right. No, no offense to anybody else. I'm just saying. I'm just, anyway. So right now, inside week on the week, this lets us know, okay, on the weekly chart, it's inside month as well. So they're not, there's the buyers nor the sellers are more aggressive, all right? And then the inside week, so it's not very aggressive on either side, but it did go up on the day. We call this two up on the day, all right? Because
Yep.
we call that two up on the day because it went above yesterday's highs. And we got
And we
these
closed
cool,
above it. We closed above
and
yesterday's close. We closed green on the day, even though the candle's red. Yep.
yep,
I hate that, by the way, that we do that
yeah,
sometimes.
yes. Yes. And so it did this, it did this type of thing, selling, 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 and then
Yep.
gap up. And then fortunately, so far, it's still going. Now, what this trend just keeps, I call it, it's kind of like like a moth, like hit in your house, like hitting the light bulb. You know what I mean? Like, let me take these things off real quick. But it's like a moth at it's like all-time highs. The price just keeps hitting the light bulb, like it just keeps hitting the top and it comes
Your chart
down,
and
and then
mine is
bing,
very similar except for one
bing.
line. I
Yeah,
can't wait to show you mine because it's just a little different.
that's awesome. I love it. I love it. But like I was just saying, the bright price just keeps hitting all-time highs and come
Hmm.
back down, hit all-time highs. So it's choppy, it's messy, especially all these days. This is a daily chart. All these bars
Well,
trapped in this bar back here. So let's go
and I talked
to.
about that bar for a while. I kept saying to everybody, that was, you watch me do my videos when I do them and stuff. I'm like, that bar was the control bar. We couldn't break
Ooh.
below it and we couldn't break above it. And
Mm-hmm.
for you had what, 10 candles inside of that, give or
Yep.
take? Could
So
give,
that's interesting. You call it a control bar because
yep.
in our strategy we call it a mother bar. We
Okay.
call it a mother bar because after that, you got all these little babies following
Yep.
mother.
I call it I call it a control bar because everything now is in control of that bar until you break it one way or the other. That bar is now in control. We couldn't break below it. We came up, but we weren't breaking above
Mm-hmm.
it. So you had a
Yep.
bunch of inside action for a while before you could break out of it. So same exact same concept, but it's yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yep. Sorry.
No, it's
Fantastic.
awesome.
I I uh I'm trying really hard. Sometimes I watch my interviews back and I'm like, man, I overtalked or I talked way
Nah,
too
you're
much.
fine.
So this is what we use to determine trend. Let's go to ABV right now because the reason why I'm looking at ABV because well, let's go to XLV real quick. XLV. That's not it. What the heck is
You
that?
put a V
Hold
in there,
on.
man.
Man, no
Are you
crap.
sure not having
V.
the scotch? You sure
I
it's
put
not me?
enough. I put enough in there. I'll put enough V's in there. What we do is okay. We got S&P 500. Uh, there's 500 stocks in here.
Right.
Then we go down the sectors. Okay, where are the buyers really at? And then we go down. Okay, were there
Wasn't
an X,
isn't
they're
that
an
what we're seeing
XLV?
right now is rapid rotation?
Yes,
Yesterday it
yes.
was energy, today it was
Hmm.
banks and healthcare
Yep,
and healthcare and biotech XBI.
yep,
Yeah, you're seeing
yep,
rapid rotation here.
yep, yep. And so we're seeing XLV coming back up. We call this a 2-2 reversal backup or 2-1-2 backup, and inside and up for tech, for you. But basically, this is the trend going up. So what we do is take that sector and go, okay, we want to look for stocks doing the same thing in that sector. And right now, AbbVie doing the same thing. So this is a trade that we, on our I talk about this on Saturday on the weekend shift, talked about it last Saturday, and this is something
Yeah.
that's working right now. So that's,
It
this is
and in
something that
that
we're
same
in.
sector, you could look at Lilly, which
Yep,
broke out to a new all-time high today.
it did. Okay, Lilly got their act together. Okay. Yep. Back to the
Right.
highs. Wow.
Explosive move,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
BMY is breaking up to the
Oh,
upside.
Bristol Myers.
Bristol,
That's what we.
Bristol Myers, yeah, get a gold Kramer back there. But look at this nice little move here on this one.
Yeah. And then
Merck is also
Merck
trying. Yep.
is
So
Merck is Merck doing the work. That's what I always say. Oh, it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Oh man, I'm missing this one. All right.
So yeah, like you, I look at my sectors every morning and then I look for the names and then what's moving on them, and I do the same thing. So you're seeing this rotation back into the big pharmaceuticals as they seem to be kind of coming to the realization that RFK is just it's just over. It doesn't matter anymore. So yeah, I agree. I tend to use the I like the XBI for personally, and it's a personal
Okay.
choice. No, IBB is heavily weighted by a couple of biotechs, whereas
It
the
is. Okay.
XBI is
Okay.
much more broader. That's the
Okay.
only
I
reason
didn't
I
know
use
that.
it.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll look at that. Maybe I'll watch this for a while. Maybe I'll change it up. We'll see. We'll see. Because I started looking at I was doing a interview with Michael Noss last year, and he showed us RSP, which is the S&P 500 equal weighted. So I'll definitely watch this, and if this is something that's better than IBB, we'll definitely do that.
I used
Definitely.
to always use the IBB, and then it's like,
Hmm.
the XBI is just broader. It's a more equal weighting, and the IBB tends to be more heavily weighted by like an Amgen or a Lilly.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Um, yep, yep, yep. Oh, Johnny John. That's what I was going to say. Johnson and Johnson. I call it.
Oh, they're just off the all-time high. They've been
Yep,
just hanging out there since earnings. Look at that
yep,
nice move here. Yeah.
yeah. Beautiful. Definitely right here on the weekly chart. So what we want to do, and last thing before we get to your charts, and the reason why I'm talking about this is because I'm showing how we identify trend, and I love that it's matching up to what you're seeing. And then what we want to do is, okay, we want to see who's in control, the buyers or the sellers in a month, and then based on our strategy, we want to look for actionable signals, we call them, on the weekly chart to reconfirm what we're seeing on the month, that they're still buying. Like you said, ride that wave. And then I'm monitoring while the week's going. I'm monitoring the daily and the 60s. As long as you're still buying and it's going in my direction, that's good. What I don't want is let's go look at Cialis
By
real
the way, they're
quick.
gonna
Not
Trump
Cialis,
was signing the bill
Cells.
tonight at 9:45 to end the shutdown.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
I didn't think that would happen until tomorrow. So
No, that's fantastic.
yeah,
Celsius. I always said Cialis.
that name is a bear of a name.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Celsius. This was great for a while, and then just drop off big
Yep.
time. All right. So, like I said,
Well, earnings, right? It was a bad
yes.
report, and yeah.
Yep. Yep. But it's red on the month. Looking at this week, I'm like, nope, there's no reason. There's nothing that says they're buying this. And then we open up way in here, like, nope, this is not a buy for me. So I was explaining to someone else earlier this week, like, we want to go where the buyers are. And we're going to buy it as it's going up, not as it's, because we get these people that tell other people, like, buy it as it's going down. Really? Because the people at $66 are mad right now. Like, they are
You
furious.
know, I always tell people, you don't want to catch a falling knife. Buy it when
No.
it's going down. You want to wait for confirmation of some
Mm-hmm.
type. You don't have to be the
Mm-hmm.
first. My favorite saying is the first one. What happens to the first person who sticks their head out of a bunker?
Oh, yeah, you
It
did.
usually gets blown off, right? So, you know,
Yes.
you
Yeah,
know,
I got my
go
tank back there and I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
yeah, go
Stick your head
watch
out of the bunker.
Platoon, go watch any of these movies, right? You stick your head in the bunker, it gets blown off.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
uh, so the difference between you and me is I don't tend to use weekly and monthly charts unless I'm going to look back, and maybe it's because I just see things. Something I can do very quickly when I started is I can look at charts very quickly on a daily chart and just say, okay, this is in this kind of mode or that. And a weekly or monthly doesn't really change my decision upon it, right? Because I can look at it and say, here's where I'm at, here's how far it's down, here's it's in the middle of nowhere on the daily. It's not touching any of these moving averages, or it's between these two, and you're in a no man's land. But a lot of people like to use the weekly and monthlies, and I get it because a lot of people can't do what I do. They can't just sit there and look at a chart and within
Right.
10 seconds say, this is bullish, bearish, or I don't give a flying F about it, and I'm moving on to the next chart. And that's what I do on
Right.
Sundays. When you see me post all those charts on Sundays, I literally have this thing I'm looking at, it, I go, don't care, don't care. Oh, let me post this one. This one looks this one, let me click this one, or this is a good example of something not to be in. Let me post that.
Yes. Yeah, we're doing different stuff, but we're
Yep.
doing the same things.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely I call it tomato, you say tomato. Same
Yep.
thing.
Same
Yep.
idea.
Yep, same thing. Let me see your charts. Let me see what you do because I
Uh,
definitely look at your charts and I've been trading. I've been training to get my CMT and I
God
watch your
bless you.
charts. What's that?
God bless you. Good luck.
I know,
I
I know.
decided I just want to be me.
It's tough. I know. There's so yeah, it's tough. It's tough because I started with the strat. I'm good at it. Why do I have to learn all this other stuff? That was my attitude for so long. Now I'm like actively trying to learn all this other stuff. So I watch you because I like you. Uh, so I'm looking at your charts. I'm always learning.
Can you see him?
Uh, yeah. Yep. I can see them. Yep.
Okay.
Hmm.
So one thing I do is I tend to leave a lot of stuff in my charts from previous. I try not to take it off
Okay.
because it shows me whether I'm seeing things right or not. Like, so you see a lot of these lines that are still on this chart, which may or not have any bearing anymore. Like, these squares are always gaps. Well, okay,
Yep.
these still have never been filled, right? But a lot of
Hmm.
these lines I leave on here just to show me what I was seeing back then. So when I look going forward, I can look at it and say, okay, is this pattern repeating itself? Because patterns
Right.
tend to repeat themselves. So you and I have the same kind of channel. I have this top line on this channel, which we've been from back coming up here, but I
Yep.
also have a bottom line. Now, the bottom line is a little bit more nebulous for me because if you look at it here, I have this one touch point, I have this two and three here, and then you have this candle that went below, but then reclaimed it. Now, I call this as a hold. And the reason I say that is because it did not close underneath the channel. It managed to push
Ah.
itself back into the channel for the close of the daily candle, so we're still in it. But, I also will redraw them. So I will take a chart and I will start moving my lines around when I get more touch points. Because to me, if you're drawing a trend line, the more touch points you have, the better that trend line is,
Yep. More
right?
valid. Yeah. Hmm.
So I don't care if it's the top of the candle, the bottom of the candle, the close of the candle, wherever it is, you find the most touch points you can because that gives you more validity to it. And you ignore the noise when you get these little break above it or not, or break below it, and they don't hold. You don't
Hmm.
care.
Yeah.
So we're in this ascending channel on this S&P 500. So you have the
Hmm.
same line on the top. I have this one in the bottom. I told you I had a little bit different. You're also here. I do have your line, but I just never
Yeah.
extended it over here down here. I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like it,
That's awesome. Yeah.
it's just it's not really it's just not serving any purpose.
No, it's not. It's not. So what we would like to do is trade, and I know they don't necessarily do this, and they teach you to trade the breakout and technical analysis. But what we want to do with our broadening formation is trade those reversals up and down
Yeah.
in that broadening formation, and hopefully, we get that like, again,
Well,
just ride the wave back up and down. Yeah.
again, ascending channels
Hmm.
almost always break to the downside.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
it's not.
and this one's not, and it's very long in the tooth, right? I mean, it
Yeah.
just is.
Hmm.
So, so for me, what I do every morning is I get up and I get up around 4:30 and I pull my
Wow.
laptop out and the puppy stares at me and goes, "Is it playtime?" And I say, "No."
That's
And
funny.
I quickly go through a little bit of the day, then I take a shower, and then at 5 o'clock I take him for a walk, and then at 5:30 I go in front of my computer. I start outlining my charts for the day on names I'm going to trade. So I have about 15 or 20 names every day. I put three lines on it. I have a sell trigger, I have a buy trigger and I have a point of control. The point of control is always based upon the volume of the previous day, the average of where most of the volume traded, right?
Okay.
So that to me is a spot where you'll find it's like a magnet a lot
Hmm.
of times. If you're coming down or if you're below it, you want to come up to it and test it. If you're above it, you tend to want to come down and retest it. And then my tr sell and buy triggers are a little bit more nebulous based upon different things and what's going on. Sometimes they're meaningless and they are just absolute crap. Um, but like, and they're pretty much based upon the close of the action. I don't take after hours into account because after hours
Me
volume
neither.
is
Hmm.
just not as much.
Correct. Hmm.
So then the first thing I start doing is once I do that is I start going through upgrades and downgrades, and I'm looking for what's going to give me momentum today and looking for news, upgrades, downgrades, something that might give me some reason to want to be in a stock. So let's pull up AMD for today because AMD had a monster.
Yeah, you were saying that, and I don't think AMD was something I don't think I was watching me.
All right, so
Okay,
here's
yeah, back up
AMD on a
today.
daily. It's just
Okay.
shy of the all-time high now, and you have this
Hmm.
gap and go and this beautiful move off their analyst day yesterday.
Yep.
And so what I do is I trade off a 1 and a 5 minute chart um in there. So first thing I do is this. Here's your gap up, right?
Hmm.
And here's your gap up candle, and I'm not taking a trade in the first 5 minutes for the most part. Or if I do, it's stock only and it's in and out. And if I make two, 300 bucks, I'm gone. Right. So a
Awesome.
thousand shares, I'm in, I'm out, I'm gone, done. I don't want to kill it. What I'm now looking for is a break of the opening range if I want to go long or short, and I will be the first to tell you I don't like to short. I do on occasion, but I don't like to, and especially in a raging bull market, the last thing I want to do is be getting short because
Right.
chances are you're going to get your, you know what, reamed.
Yeah, yeah, you're sticking your head out of the bunker.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for me, here's AMD, here's your opening 5 minute candle, right? What's
Hmm.
it do? The next 5 minute candle doesn't take it out,
Yep.
drops
Inside.
down, breaks it.
Hmm.
So it could have been a short here if you were really looking for a short,
Hmm.
at least a cute short, right? And you don't understand what I
Yeah.
mean by a cute short. Like,
Yeah. Ninja
you know,
stuff.
you
Yeah.
you know, once I get green, my stops are moving up. I'm not letting this thing get away from me at that point, right?
Hmm.
So you
Hmm.
could have bought some puts or shorted the stock, and it came down here and it held this 250 area. And then it reversed. And somewhere in here, I said, this is going to freaking take off. And I jumped on calls.
That's awesome.
That's right.
Yeah.
And usually I would wait for it to take out the opening 5 minute candle, but I'm pretty sure today I did because I really just liked I liked the setup and I really thought that that analyst call was good. And sometimes you have to take that into account because we do break rules based upon that at times,
Hmm.
right? You look at that.
Hmm.
So here you go, this nice move up, traded them. I think I traded 10 contracts on it. I think I took off five, then I took off three, and then I think somewhere in
Nice.
here in the drop, I took off the last two, still green, nicely green, and got out. Um,
Fantastic.
and then if you're looking at this, there was another place you could have traded this. So, I was not being very aggressive today, but you have a well-defined downtrend here on the five. And
Hmm.
if you're looking for a day trade, when it broke above here, there was a trade to be had if you wanted to get back into AMD,
Yep.
right? And that's kind of how I look at things on an intraday basis. And what I'm doing is I'm also looking at a daily chart to make sure I'm not coming up on a resistance. And so what I mean by that is when we go back to a daily chart, right?
Hmm.
Am I at the all-time high? Because the all-time high could be resistance, right? Am
Hmm.
I at a spot where I think we're at resistance? No, we're not there here. So am I at any moving average? Nope, we're not here at anything, right? We're above all the moving averages. So I'm looking
Yeah.
for places that could be resistance on my daily chart. So for me, my setup is I look at a 1 minute, a 5 minute, and a daily chart. And
Wow.
that's my view on the world when I'm trading. So when I'm trading, looking at things, it helps me decide whether I want to be in something or I don't want to be in something. So on a day like today, which I am long a metric ton of Amazon stock and options and not loving life at the moment,
Mm.
at the end of the day, it still held the 8 day today on this big down candle.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, I'm going to hold it
Yeah.
because I have time and I still think this is one of the best charts out there right now.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at it. Okay, okay.
Well,
On my
he,
side, well, because it's on from what I'm seeing, I know you don't look at it's inside on the week big time. I know you don't look like,
mhm.
weekly charts, but yeah, definitely some,
But I can see that
hmm
just by looking at this, right?
That's right. That's
That's
right.
just
That's right.
very,
You can
very
see
evident
that.
to me right away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Why am I so bullish? It just broke out from a year-long base.
Mm.
Right here,
Mm-hmm.
right? Here it is. It came down, it tried to break below, it took it back, it closed above it. As
Yeah,
long as it holds here, I remain very, very bullish on Amazon, right?
that's
Because
awesome.
it wants to go up. It had this blowout report. It's getting into the AI game. So I think this is getting ready to break out. And you see this with names. They come down, they do this, they chop around just because
Yeah.
funds want to accumulate it. Well, they don't want to be chasing it, they want to accumulate it. So you know how funds do that?
No.
So funds are actually screwy. They'll be selling stock to bring the price back down, to buy it back later because they get more people selling than that. So they don't want it to break out. So they'll sell some stock to help push the price back down so they keep buying it cheaper.
Oh, sneaky.
They're using programs, right? They're
Yeah.
using program. So overall, they're net buyers. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
They're a net buyer going on, but they're trying not to let this name break out because they want to accumulate it.
Yeah,
Because they don't,
they
they're
want to get it cheap. Uh-huh.
right. They don't want to be buying it up at
Right.
258 and they want to be buying at 245 or 250.
Wow. So but for the average trader, you, the average person, not you,
Hmm.
Mike, but the
Hmm.
average person watching me, you don't, I mean, we all have different account sizes, okay? But I always tell people when you, because they get real mad. Look, every time I buy, it goes down. Like the market is not looking for you. They're not like,
Hmm.
from my perspective, they're not looking for you. And so when you buy, you are not necessarily affecting the market, and that's why I always try to like emphasize riding that trend. I guess I say all that to say that I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Um, but you definitely have to be an institutional buyer to make that happen, right? Like, or a
Well,
big
you
hedge fund.
do. That's not
Hmm.
me, right? That's not a
Yeah,
me
I'm just
either.
saying. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, this is what they're doing. So, I mean,
Hmm.
what you look at is you see a chart like this that's under accumulation. You see this happen a lot, right?
Hmm.
Avgo, blowout
We've been talking
report,
about this
right?
a lot.
Pushed
Hmm.
up. Look at this, comes down. This is consolidation. They don't want to,
Yep.
they're buying it, and they get the move up. Now you have a cup and a handle pattern.
Yeah.
And, again, you look at this, you know, depending on who you are, here you go. You break above that, you have possible liftoff. You have a nice little cup
Wow.
here and a handle pattern that's developed on this. And, you know, for me, this is easy stuff. And I don't mean this to like, to make anybody your members feel like I look at this stuff and it just kind of jumps out at me. And I don't look for complex patterns. I know like some people are like, oh, we got a diamond pattern here, this. I look for
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
simple patterns because they're the ones that really tend to work the best. The complex ones are, Jesus Christ, I don't have 6 months to wait for this to play out.
I
I
love
don't
it.
have the patience for that,
Right.
right?
No,
But
that's
you have a nice
fantastic.
little
Yeah.
cup and handle patterns developed here, and we see this all the time on these names, and it's because they're under accumulation.
Mm,
You know,
interesting. Yeah, because I did learn that a cup and handle is a continuation pattern. Hmm.
yep, that's
Hmm.
what it is.
Hmm.
Apple, one of the, this name has been such a tough name. Um, I often refer to some things as a box trade. So when you
Hmm.
put the highs and lows, and you can create a box, and you're looking for a break of that box, and if you have the patience, you have to wait for that break, right? So
Hmm.
you don't want to jump it. But this trade in here, I was long it. We were all long it, and we're like, this is the going to go to all-time highs. It's just sitting
Yeah.
right here, and then it broke down. Everybody's like, Jesus, effing giant, freaking, we're all cursing off. And then
Yeah.
what's it do? A couple of them, boom, up to all-time
Wow.
highs. You're like,
Yeah.
okay. And then
Hmm.
you get this little pattern here, and
Same thing.
it's a very similar pattern. So I was very long Apple. Yesterday I sold a bunch of it, and then today I bought a little of it back. I kept a couple calls. I kept two of my
Hmm.
10 calls, and I bought I think four more back today, so I have six. And I'm
Wow.
out into December. And by the way, if you're an option trader, never trade weeklies. Just don't fucking trade weeklies. Excuse my language. Just
That's
just do
okay.
not. You're asking to get hurt. At least go out to the following week. Like on Tesla, because the options are so ridiculous expensive. I trade the
I
week
thank you for
following
saying
week.
that. Thank you, because I've been saying that on this show, and people are like, "It." Keep going. I'm so glad that you
No,
said that.
please go.
It's
No,
ridiculous. So I always tell. So I've been trading Tesla, but I've been telling people I just buy some shares of Tesla. Just
yep.
buy the shares because, and I get I say it's calculator time, and I put my calculator up on my screen, and I'm like, okay, the option says it's $23 option. But we also know that's 23 times 100. So it's
Yep.
$2,300 for one call.
Yep.
or put or put. And the volatility is like this. It goes straight up and then curves and goes straight down. It's the worst roller
It
coaster.
is.
Like it goes, there's no banking. It's straight up and down.
Yep.
So I
See,
tell people, yeah, I tell people trade it with shares, but like the
you know
options
what
are
else you can
so
trade is
crazy.
TSLL.
Yeah.
It's extremely liquid. And if you want to be
Yep.
short and be cute, TSLQ, another one, extremely liquid.
TSLQ. I've
Yeah.
seen a TSL. I've seen TLS. Yeah, I've seen those other ones. Yes. Interesting.
TSLQ
Okay, got it.
is the two times daily ETF short. Now it's leveraged, so you don't want to be sitting in it for long periods of time. But as a
Hmm.
trader during the day, it's very liquid and it moves.
Ah, learning,
Right.
learning.
So, so Netflix
Hmm.
a couple weeks ago announced they're going to do a 10 for 1 split.
Yeah. Hmm.
And it was right here, right into this mess here. And
Hmm.
I said, screw it. So I went out and I bought 1,000 shares of NFXL, which is their ETF, two times ETF long.
Ooh,
And
I didn't know that.
it pushed up and I sold a bunch of it into the highs, took some profits. And then I've been sitting in a little bit of it here. And today I trimmed the last half I had because it splits on Monday. Monday morning before the open, it'll officially do a 10 for 1 split.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, here's the gap. It's getting into it. Let me take some profits here and hold a little bit. And I'm going to hold the rest of it into the open on Monday and see what happens. But I mean, part of everything is also risk management. And so
Yes.
what I do, I got in on this day here. I got in fairly early. I made very nice money. I think I think it was down to 200 shares, and I've been holding 200 shares. And they came down. They went a little red down. They went red. Don't misunderstand me. But I'm like, it's a stock split. It's Netflix. They're going to come back, right?
Yeah.
And here they are. They came up, and I think I jumped the 100 shares of it today, just before the high, like right into this area here. And now I have 100 shares that'll hold into Monday. But here's the worst thing that happens on Monday, even if it comes down a little bit, and I get out flat. Okay, it's not going
Yeah.
to be like anything bad.
Right. I love it. Mike, we are doing the same thing. I love
Yep.
it. And I love that you're trading shares. You are trading at higher quantities than I do, way higher, but you're still trading shares. But at the same time, you're trading options as well. You're doing
Mm.
it smart. And I'm having a good time listening to this. Or watch I mean, I'm listening to you. I feel like I'm
Well,
your guest right now. I'm learning, dude. This is good.
there's different tools, right? I trade
Mm-hmm.
futures at times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially I tend to trade futures a lot on economic events or on the Fed, but lately the Fed and these events have not been anything real, any juice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Options are great, as well, and stock. And you have three different tools in your shed, and these tools all have different ways you can use them, right?
Hmm.
You can be long, you can be short, you can do spreads on options, right? So you choose which one works for you, and it's about learning about them. And what I always tell everybody is like, well, Mike, oh, you traded what did I tell my room today? I said NFXL
Yeah.
XL, right? And I'm like, here's the thing I'll tell you is before you trade this with any size, trade one share. Like, what do you
Hmm.
mean? Learn how it trades. Decide if
Yep.
this is something you can live with, right? Because it's not the most liquid of names. It's only does about, under 1 million shares a day. That's not the most liquid.
Hmm.
It's okay. Now,
Yeah.
AMDL, which I trade often now, is a very liquid two-time ETF for AMD, and this thing does 20 something million shares a day. That's
Uh-huh.
extremely liquid. Love that,
Yeah.
right? That is
Hmm.
liquidity. And I
Man.
guess what I'm saying to you and to some of your members is when you're
Hmm.
trading is, some of you guys want to trade, but you can't, you look at AMD and say, well, AMD is, $260 a share. Christ, I was trading AMD when it was $16 a share. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
this huge move. But maybe this is too expensive. Maybe you look at the options and say, oh, this is not for me. Well, AMDL is an option if you want to trade with stock instead of trading AMD stock. It's liquid and it doesn't whip as much. And
Good.
um, the
I'll
one thing you
definitely
learn
check
over,
it.
go ahead.
No, I was just saying I got it on the list. I'll definitely be
Yeah.
checking it out. Yes.
Well, one thing you learn over time is how a stock trades. AMD used to be one of my favorite traders, and in the last year, it's become my least favorite traders because the way it whips intraday and these spreads and it'll push up a 50 cents in 30 seconds and then drop a buck in the next minute. And you're like, what's going on here? And then it come running back and go higher in the next minute. And you're like, what is going on? And as a day trader, you don't want to have 1,000 shares of that and be sitting in that and saying, "Oh my God, I'm down $1,000 and I don't know what to do. I was up $500 and I'm down $1,000, 5 seconds later. What do I do?"
Yeah.
So AMDL becomes something that is a little bit less scary.
Chaotic, yeah.
Yeah.
So two things. One, I'm trying to always tell this. I'll definitely start talking about AMD. Did not know that was a thing. But with AMD, like it's a, like you said, it's a $200 stock, but at one time it was at 171. And what
Yep.
I'm doing is showing our actionable signals, like a UNH was one of them. But let's just stick with AMD. AMD on the monthly chart went 2-2 back up on the month in November at 169, excuse me, 167.90. All right, 167.90. And I'm like, if you just bought one share, just one, and it goes back up to, it goes back up to 227.34, that's some good profit on just one share.
Right.
Like just trying to expand people's mind because, and make them like help them think like not just green is green, but like you can still make money with just a couple shares. You don't need to,
Well,
we definitely want to get, what I mean, put some size on and make some money. But if I'm a small account trader, it doesn't mean, well, I can't, well, I'm never going to be able to trade AMD. I'm never going to be able to trade, some of these other names, these, three-digit names.
so
It,
what I do is
Mhm.
I have two accounts and I treat them both differently. So
Okay.
my day trading account, I keep it at a smaller size because I don't need a lot of size there. And then I have
Mm-hmm.
my long-term account, and that's where I have conviction. And you know, um, you know, here's kind of what I have going on in my long-term account right now. So I don't share
Wow.
this with a lot of people, but I share it with my members all the time. So you can see how active I am in this. Like, you can see with Amazon, I started buying, look at me, trimming half, trimmed more, adding back, adding more, adding again, average, telling me where my averages are at, trimmed again, adding back, right? You can see I find these
Yeah.
positions and I start trading around them and stuff. And then, you know, um, this is kind of how I work on it and do things with that. And I treat them differently. I don't look at them. I look at them every day, but I'm not staring at them. I'm not saying, "Oh, I need to do this," unless there's some news there that I need to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And to your people who have your long-term accounts, you don't need to have a lot of size. Just have conviction. And
Mm-hmm.
when I buy stuff, I generally have conviction. So I have this conviction in BKSY, which is for me, it's a speculative name in the
Mm-hmm.
satellite business, doing a lot of business with Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
PLAB is a play on bringing chip manufacturing back to the United States.
Okay.
They're similar to ASML.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
provide that kind of lithograph, right? So I want a little crypto exposure, so I have some IBIT, and I want to get into Ethereum, so I have some BMNR. And then you see I'm just kind of always working around that with different stocks. And I'm a little lighter. I need to be adding more to my portfolio right now, but the problem is I can't find the names I want. So when that
Mm-hmm.
happens, I just start adding to the indexes,
Oh, okay. No,
right?
that makes sense.
Right.
Yes.
So,
Mm-hmm.
the other day I was adding to SPY, I was adding to the Qs on that reversal camera, the hammer reversal we had back
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, I don't know what I want to own here. And when I say that, and I say, there's a difference between trading and saying what you want to own. When you say, I don't know what I want to own, then it's time to start saying, okay, then but I need to be longer this market than buy the indexes.
Mm. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Yes, that makes perfect sense because you don't know where, yeah, you don't know where the buyers or sellers are, but you can see the index is going up, but you don't know what sector they're in. You don't
Yep.
know. Yeah. Perfect.
Or you don't know what you like. You look at the names, you're
Yeah.
like, you go out sometimes, you say, okay, all right, do I want to own AMD here for long term? I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, right?
Yeah. It's all time
Do
highs.
do I want to own Google here long term?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I want to own Meta? Not yet. Maybe
Not yet.
soon, but not
Mhm.
yet,
Not yet.
right? I,
But
I actually like Meta somewhere down around this 590 area, or a gift to 570 would be awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny, going back to AMD, it's been a long running joke about AMD. As you were saying, it's been choppy, goes up and down, it's down, and then it goes straight back up. So me and my one of my other trading buddies, Zay. Shout out to Zay and his show, Late Night Liquidity. It's on right now. Late Night Leverage. I'm sorry, Late Night Leverage. It's on right now. So, but I'm talking to you. But anyway, we have this inside joke about AMD because we were on Twitter and he's like, "Yeah, I'm buying more AMD down here at 70," and or whatever it was. But you know, he's talking about buying AMD, and I'm like, dude, you know, and I'm talking about how I look at charts. I'm like, dude, it's red on the month, red on the week, it's red on the what are you doing with AMD? And he's like, it's gonna come, and it finally did. It blasted. Now it's back at all time highs. But I was telling him like, in the joke is AMD is like that ex crazy ex girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like she is wild. She's fun to be around when she's acting right. You know what I mean? She'll come over, she'll watch Netflix with you, she'll help you walk the dog, you and the dog out having a good time. But then she'll get an attitude, and then she's
Man,
scratching your
these are the type of
car.
conversations that get me in trouble, man.
She's feeding your dog bologna so it throws up. Like she's doing all kind of like, what's your problem? And then she's
Don't
like,
listen to him, Duke. Don't listen to him, buddy.
but then she'll
Yeah.
get her act together and she'll be nice again. Like right now,
Well,
today, like you said on this chart today, today she's being nice. She says, "I'm sorry. Let's go to the park."
it was good. I mean, it was all good. I mean, my gut feeling is this market's going to rage. I think,
Mhm.
I think we're going to break higher here at some point in the near future. We're going to hit all-time highs again. We're going to go higher. I think next year probably going to be more volatile, but
Mm-hmm.
higher overall.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do think that politics are going to play into next year.
Mm-hmm.
You have and you have the midterm elections next year,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, what Trump can or cannot get through anymore, how that goes depends upon the Republicans feel about their chances of holding the House and the Senate, and that will start to change based upon that.
Mm-hmm.
And that will bring volatility into the markets, and just recognize that as you go into next year, the politics will bring volatility into this market depending upon how things are going. Now, if they think they're fine, everything's good, we're probably just going to continue to cruise. So let's just be honest here. I'm not trying to take a
Yeah.
side in either way.
Yeah.
But that could be a source of volatility, and I do think it's going to be a source of volatility because of what happened in last week, and the idea the Democrats are suddenly feeling emboldened, and the Republicans are suddenly looking, going, we may have some problems going into next year, and we need to fix that, or how do we fix that? What do we need to do to fix that?
Mm-hmm.
And it
Yep.
sucks that we have to talk about this stuff, but it will, because you have a president that really wants to pump the markets, and he does it every chance he gets. Every time the market drops,
Yeah.
he's coming out and trying to push it.
Mm-hmm.
That will play into it. Um, the
Yeah.
AI trade theme is going to continue, and you know, uh, just stick with the bigger names if you're not sure. A lot of people love these little spec plays and these no names. They're making no money, but I can't tell you. I learned a long time ago. I got hurt on most of those names.
Yeah.
Stayed too long, got hurt, stick in them, and you
Yeah.
know, if you bought GME in the 200s and you're still in it, you're just in.
Yeah.
You have no hope. Same thing with AMC when you bought these names, or
Yeah.
Beyond Meat, or
Mm-hmm.
Tilray, right? In the
Yep. The dollar. Tilray's a dollar 34, I think.
yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, right. So these names,
Yep.
these names that do like this, you look at this and you say, I don't understand, Mike, and sometimes you have to go back. I don't even know if 5 years is enough to catch this. Kind of.
Sheesh.
No, it's not
Yeah.
even.
So I
It's
look at
not even.
yearly charts. I could definitely show you that on yearly charts. I look at yearly charts over here. Um, where
Here it
each,
is.
yeah,
If you
look
go
at
to a
that.
weekly, let's get out of this. Hang on a second. Let me get rid of they changed stock charge. There it is. Get rid of watch there. There you go. So look at this. This
Yeah.
moved to 300, right? $300. I
Yeah.
mean, this is just stupidly insane. And you know, but people were buying. I mean, this people were buying all the way up here, and you're
Yeah.
never getting this. This mean they're dead. It's like Beyond Meat. I call it rancid meat.
Ranted me. I've been
Mhm.
calling it Beyond the Profit. That's what I've been calling.
I mean, I mean, they're just smooth to 230, right? This stock is this
Wow.
this stock is dead. They need to be bought out, and they hope they can get bought out because
Yeah.
they have nothing anybody wants because it was a fad, and now they're losing money hand over fist. And I mean,
Yeah.
nobody wants plant-based meat.
No,
you have a very small percentage of people. There's just not a big market for it. So,
right. It was a good idea, a bad idea. That's what it was.
yep.
Yeah. Another one, Peloton. When I do my Strat Camp webinar and I'm teaching about how to trade, one of the old charts I have is Peloton. And remember, I know you remember, all you had
Yeah.
to do was say Peloton and would go up. Like all you
Yep.
had to do was just, you know, all you had to do was
Pandemic
put it in the,
special.
yeah. And then now it's dead. You know,
Yep.
everybody figured out, oh yeah, this is just a stationary bike with an iPad on it.
That's it.
You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all it is. And like,
Yeah.
they're they have a niche space, but they have a lot of debt. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, we talked a lot. I mean, the other thing is always look at the fundamentals of a company because,
Hmm. Hmm.
you look at some of these companies and say, oh, they look fine. And, so last night, I think it was last night, CoreWeave came crashing down after what everybody said thought was a good report at first.
Mm. Hmm.
And yes, not last night, the night before. And when you really dive into it, you look at it, the problem CoreWeave has is one, their guidance was not what the market was looking for.
Mm.
But two,
Hmm.
their debt is enormous,
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hmm.
right? They have enormous debt and their interest payments on that debt is enormous and going up. And so, you know, that's just a tough space to be in because you're faced with this situation where you constantly had to, if AI keeps moving forward as fast as it has been, you're constantly having to buy new equipment to appease your customers, but you can't depreciate the current equipment you already bought for these customers as long as you want to.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it creates this problem. And, so what they're doing is, if you don't understand what they're doing, is they're basically buying AI chips and renting them out, right? They're like, okay, you need extra space if you're Microsoft or you're a smaller company, you come to us and we'll provide your AI, infrastructure, your server, your hardware for you. But, that's a tough market.
Wow. I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah,
So
there's always a guy on Bloomberg where, they start talking about NVIDIA and GPUs and things like that, and he comes on and he talks about it, the GPU thing. I still don't understand what GPU is, but
it's,
but
it's a
I did
graphics
not know
processor on
that.
your computer, man.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. Like I said, a Strat soldier, not computer soldier. It don't
Hey, I
say
built my own
computer.
computer this year, so the thing's a beast. It's got like, two of the like two $900 video cards in it. The thing's a beast.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Last thing, since we're talking about stuff and things, have you seen these? Let me go to my usual suspects because it's in here. These, I don't even know what they're called. There's these ETFs that pay out 10 cents a month or something like that.
Yep.
Tesla, Appley. What do you think about those? Because people bring them up on my show, and I'm like, looking at the price, it just keeps going down. They're like, yeah, but it pays out a dividend. I'm like, I tell people to be careful because it seems like a gimmick to me. What do
So
you?
what these companies are doing, and it's a good concept, but you have to be careful with it. You have to make sure you know what they're doing is they're using options, um, basically to your 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 ceiling is lower. You can't get the heights on it because if the stock goes way up, because they're using options to create those dividends, and that's what they're paying them out. They're paying out daily or
Oh,
weekly on those dividends, right? They're paying them out pretty quickly,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So you can't, they're doing calls. They're selling calls and spreads against it and doing what they need to do. At the same time, if the stock drops, you're not going to get hit as hard either, and you're getting paid out. They're not a
Mm,
bad concept. They're probably very good for somebody looking for more stable income,
mm.
right? They're
Okay.
an income-based generator.
Hmm.
They're not a day trader yet because they have no volume. So if you go look at their charts and the volume, they have virtually no volume on them. So
Yeah, it looks
for me,
bad. Yeah.
there's nothing to do. This is either something you buy and you sit in or you don't. And um, I've talked with and I've been on some podcasts with some of these companies, and they have the right idea. They have some very smart people behind them, but it's kind of for me a wait and see how this kind of plays out.
Yeah. Interesting. Very good. Yeah, you're the first
Yeah.
person that actually can break that down because now I see the name option income strategy. So now I feel like an idiot, but I didn't know. I mean, I don't know.
So I'll
Um,
let you also in a
mhm,
little secret. I never
mhm.
watch Bloomberg or CNBC or Fox Business or any of these channels anymore. I
No
never
more.
watch none of them,
Okay.
not a single one. Just turn them off.
Okay. All right.
They
But
don't, you know, uh, get yourself a news service. I have a couple of them. Trade Exchange is one I use. You could Benzinger's another one, or uh, was the Fly is another one out there. There's a bunch of them out there, right? Pick
Yeah.
whichever one you want. I'm not trying to pick and show you anyone, but you don't need any. All they do is they throw their opinion at you, and they're late. They're slow on the news. These guys are always slow to get you the news, and
Hmm.
they bring people on that just pump their positions, right? And you know, I showed you my long-term positions today. I think other than Amazon, we didn't talk about any of them in terms of any kind of depth. I'm not trying to push my positions with you guys, but these
Right.
guys come on, they pump their positions. That's all they're trying to do is they want to push their positions, and just recognize that when you're on there with them.
Yeah,
So,
perfect. I love that. I love that. Yeah, we definitely follow Benzinga over here. We use Trendspider. I use Trendspider, and they got a nice big Benzinga section column in there, and you can read the headlines and things like that. And then so yeah, you're right. Okay, okay. So I watch Bloomberg. So
hmm
just give me get my brain
not
going.
giving me a hard time. They're just these things don't really help you at the end of the day.
True, that's true. And what I also show people, I tell people, okay, so they're talking about, let's just say AMD. They're talking about AMD in the news, and I tell people, okay, now go to your charts and do you see it actually happening in the
Right.
price? Is it really happening in the price yet? If not, then like you said, don't worry about that person trying to pump Tilray.
Yep. Exactly. You've
Yeah.
seen a bunch of those.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. That's so funny. So I think I want to sum up your strategy for you or nothing like that, but we're coming to time. So I was thinking, from what I've learned, definitely you got AMDL, you got NFXL. I think I'm saying that right.
Mhm.
Those are things that we could trade, very liquid, especially for
AMDL,
small.
NFXL not as liquid.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
And
But
then
Tesla,
hmm
TSLL, TSLQ, if you want to short it, because
yep.
Tesla provides a lot of trades every day, both long and short. The thing tends to
hmm
whip back and forth.
Yep. $10 up, $10 down.
Yep.
Yes. Yes. And then oh shoot. Oh shoot. There was another one there's another simple, keeping things simple, but you had another lesson in there. I can't have a blank. I should have wrote it down. Just how you do stuff, sector rotation. You said something else. I'm sorry. I'm totally losing it. But
Dude, I've been up and doing this since 5 o'clock this morning. I'm brain dead.
I'm surprised you're still awake right now. Why do you wake up so early? It's
Uh,
4:30.
but you
I'm
know
not telling you
what?
to stop.
You
But
know, I look at stuff and then I'm starting to get stuff out. I'm outlining my charts. I get information out to you guys, to my members, and I shoot a video for my members. I get a workout in the morning, right? I
wow.
also do that.
Hmm.
This little monster over here to my right requires at least an hour of attention in the morning before the day opens up between a mile walk and playing with him and all that kind of stuff. So, there's things to be done.
Yeah. I love it, man.
And I
You
go
are I
live
did
at 9 o'clock on Zoom. So, it's like, okay, so you're up at 5, you have 4 hours, and it sounds like a lot, and it just kind of flies by.
that's fantastic. I love it. Very disciplined. If you want to cut your screen off, the screen share off, and let us know excuse me, where can we find you? Whatever you want to promote, go ahead. I mean, this was awesome. I learned a lot. This
Dude,
was fun.
easy, just, want to go on X options, Mike, X/options, Mike. Make sure I have like over 100,000 followers. Otherwise, it's somebody trying to be a scumbag and, pretend with me.
Yeah.
Or go to my website at smartoptiontrade.com if you want to join us. And I'm not here to sell your members, so
Nah,
appreciate
that's
having you here. And I post a ton of stuff for free on Twitter all the time. And no, it's not everything I post for my members. I post a ton more for them. But I do a couple videos a week. You'll probably get 2 or 3 videos for free on my feed, or you can follow me on YouTube once you follow one of those. And yeah, I mean, what we do is hard enough. I try to give as much information as I can.
That's awesome. I love it, Mike. That's fantastic. Yeah, and I will always call it Twitter. I don't care what he says. It's Twitter.
Yeah, it's Twitter to me,
I want
so
to
still, but
retweet something. I don't want to repost it
I
or
don't want to
re.
re-exit.
Yeah, that's it. Stupid. That's so awesome, Mike. Don't go away, but I want to say for everybody, thank you so much for being here, and I'm going to talk to these guys just for a few more minutes, and then we're going to get out of here. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thanks for
Mike.
having
Thank
me.
you so much
Thank
for
you.
being here. This was fun. Go check out thestratsoldier.com. If you watched all of this and you're like, man, I don't know how to read charts. I don't know where to start an account. I don't even know how to get in on anything when I do start these charts, all right? When I start these trades, go to thestratsoldier.com. Get the Strat starter kit. The Strat starter kit, you get 2 ebooks, Zero to Trading and Hammer and Force, and you get one of these Strat Soldier coffee mugs sent to your house so you can laugh with me on Saturdays and, create these winning positions, add to them, and defend them with tight stops.